It's time for the 1430 Connection on 1430 WNAV and 99.9 FM, spotlighting news, newsmakers, and important community issues. Now, with this week's edition of the 1430 Connection, here is WNAV news anchor Donna Cole.
Welcome to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me today is Margaret Davis. She's the president and chief executive officer of Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts right here in Annapolis. Thank you, Margaret, for joining me today.
Hello, Donna. It's great to be with you.
Full disclosure, I have been involved with Maryland Hall as a parent through my affiliation with the Ballet Theater of Maryland at one time or another. I'm the biggest fan of Maryland Hall.
I'm so glad.
And I am definitely the biggest fan of you right now for a lot of the changes you're making. And you started your job last year.
That's right, about 10 months ago. It's an exciting time for Maryland Hall, and I feel so honored to have been picked from a very talented pool of applicants for this job and to succeed. Truly a town institution, fabulous woman, Linnell Bowen. She's my neighbor. We're friends, and look what she did to get Maryland Hall to where it is today. And now we have a great springboard for truly leaping forward into the deep end and swimming in a new way.
Heck yeah. The transformations, though, that she ushered in and that you are now following through with. First of all, for those that don't know, what was Maryland Hall?
Maryland Hall was the Annapolis High School, and let's put it right there on the table. It was the white high school until integration. And so 1932 was the founding year. It's a beautiful building from that era. It's got great bones and wonderful architecture. Of course, historic is code for expensive, and so we need to keep it up. But we've been given a tremendous gift, and we have a great partnership with the Anne Arundel County Public Schools. They still own the building, and it's a marvelous partnership that we have with the superintendent and the board. So original Annapolis High School, repurposed 39 years ago. Next year's our 40th season. So repurposed 39 years ago to be a phenomenal, broad community, county, regional resource for creative and performing arts.
And so it is exactly that. It's the place to go to for arts classes, arts performances. You have 4 resident companies in Maryland Hall, but you have performances by other people throughout the year. It is, though, we are at the start of the arts season.
We are.
Kicking it off this evening at Arts Alive. And Arts Alive is your biggest.
The biggest, the only. We've really devoted our energy to this fundraiser. This is a critical fundraiser. And Donna, as you're describing our mission, you can see that our tagline, Art for All, really summarizes all those different aspects of Maryland Hall. And Arts Alive 20, the 20th year for this fundraiser, supports Art for All. And we can't do it. A couple $100,000, maybe even $300,000 will be raised to support this mission to make sure that all of our residents and visitors, I always say 3 months to 103 years old, have full access, scholarships, low ticket prices, free visits to the gallery, free parking. I mean, just think about what a resource this is.
It really is a
area.
huge. You just said free parking, which
That's right.
that was the light bulb just went off. Yes, I pay over $20 in parking at some places to go see a show that has cost me well over what the ticket prices at Maryland Hall often are.
That's exactly
for
right.
great performances that you do have at Maryland Hall.
Really incredible quality,
Yeah.
and that's across the board. We're so fortunate to have these 4 resident companies, and Arts Alive, our big event on Friday, tonight, is a way we actually raise money to help underwrite the costs of our resident company performances. We don't want to pass on the total cost to them, but this is a partnership. We're all in collaboration to deliver great art to this region. So we've got the Annapolis Symphony Orchestra, Ballet Theater of Maryland, as you've mentioned, the Annapolis Opera, and then Live Arts Maryland with fabulous choral, over 150 choral singers on that stage with
They're
the
amazing.
symphony.
And Ernie's coming in a few weeks.
Oh, and such energy. I'm so fortunate to be able to work with each of those artistic directors and administrators of these arts organizations. The caliber for this region, to think that we have it right here in our hometown, to WNAV's big hub, we are so lucky.
We really are.
We really are.
Arts Alive. So there are tickets available at the door.
There are. Come walk in. It's a fundraiser. It's $200 a person. Well, you are going to have a fabulous time. It's an evening on Bourbon Street. We brought Bourbon Street up from New Orleans to Annapolis. The tent is up. It's huge. Everyone's going to be in one space. We've got Beau Soleil, the really fabulous band from New Orleans, is coming up to play. Great dance music. You can get a free hurricane. You can get a free painkiller. Great food from more than 20 Annapolis restaurants will all be there. Again, free. I like that word.
Right.
It's all inclusive. Let's just call it all inclusive. Yeah. And you know that you're supporting a phenomenal resource in the community and having a great time while doing it.
We're going to take a short break. We will be right back on the 1430 Connection. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm in the studio today with Margaret Davis, the president and CEO of Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts. Arts Alive is tonight. Food, drink, fun, and all for a good reason. Yes, you can buy tickets at the door. It starts at what time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. The tent is right outside of Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts. There's plenty of parking. This is the art season. We're opening up. There is an art season in every town across the United States, the world. Looking ahead to what will be on the stage that people should know about in the coming few months.
Sure. Just fabulous performances. In fact, I counted them up, and over 45 performances just before the end of December are taking place on the Maryland Hall stage.
Wow.
That'll be in addition to a new film and media program that we have through the Goldstein-Knitz Center for Film and New Media that takes place in the Bowen Theater, the newly to-be-dedicated Bowen Theater. It's an extremely exciting time. What's also incredible, we'll talk about performances.
Yeah.
I always think of fall, don't we all, as back to school time.
Right.
And back to school is happening at Annapolis, the old Annapolis High School, Maryland Hall, because we're offering over 300 classes. And I always say, I'm taking a Pilates class. I'm in the art of wellness section.
Right.
I'm not necessarily in the most creative arts piece. But we need to remember yoga on the Labyrinth for free. We've got Pilates classes. Then we get into woodworking, ceramics. And this is for anybody, any level. We start with music together for the little ones, and we go all the way up to some pretty high-level painting and watercolor classes, ceramics classes for some experts, printmaking, but everything in between. And, we all are a little intimidated, I think, to consider ourselves creative. Every human being has creativity in them. It's important that people, kids, adults of all ages have access to this. As I said, we've got scholarships available. We have no cap on scholarships. We're really committed to free and reduced fees as needed. But the other thing is, we crave, as human beings, specifically, I think, in our society right now, we crave also being in community in new ways. And by being in a class, creativity aside, talent aside, you've got an opportunity to meet some really terrific people, connect with a talented teaching artist, your instructor, and just put away the electronic device for a little while and experience creating. We also have got digital creative courses and digital art. So then you're getting out new devices,
right.
New iPads and you're creating right there on your phone and iPad some new art. So lots of ways to explore yourself and those connections. And rising up and thinking about art in a broader way in a community, this is a connector. Maryland Hall is a huge resource for our area. It's also art as a connector. It's the universal language. And let's all come together around something that is neutral.
Positive.
We all speak.
Right.
It's all positive. We're all going to learn about ourselves. We're going to be connected with each other in new ways, whether it's in the audience, right,
Yep.
or looking at. I was walking through our video art installation really last spring.
I remember it with a sound of the birds outside that made me turn around and
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It made you look at things in a new
Yep,
way with
it
these
did.
flaming meteors
Yeah,
also
yeah.
coming down at the same time.
Yeah.
That was an ability to connect together with the person standing next to you and say, wow, to nature.
Yeah.
And here we were connecting to nature thanks to our friends Tom and Kitty Stoner and their collection and this focus on
And
nature.
that goes back to by the way, the free yoga in the Labyrinth, isn't
That's
that
exactly
partnership?
right.
Okay.
It is. It's part of that partnership of getting people outside, relaxing, connecting to themselves, to each other in nature.
I really
And-
think it's such an important time to do that. We have so much on our plates, and we're being bombarded with a lot of stress right
We are.
now in news and everywhere, with work, with It's just you need to get away from that, and I can't think of a better place to do it or a better way to do it than through art or supporting the artists that are in Annapolis with some of their, and that are coming to Annapolis with some of these
I'm
performances.
glad to hear you say that. And Maryland Hall is such a comfortable, accessible space.
It is.
You know, it's we've spiffed it up. We've got some new spaces. We're looking at what we can do on the outside with that front area to make this more of a communal gathering space. I mean, it's such a resource that's so deep. It has so many different levels, and there are a lot of different access portals. And I always say, just come over and try. I mean, again, park for free, wander our halls for free, visit our new exhibit that's up now, Jay Fleming's work,
Right.
as well as Jay selected pieces from our digital photography club. There's some great art on the walls right now. Do all that for free. Stop into the box office, see if there's something there, pick up a catalog or access all this online, and then just start to explore. And when my husband and I first moved to Annapolis about 10 years ago, we started to engage with Maryland Hall. You know, there's a different portal. For us, it was going to be performances on stage, and we started to get to know the symphony.
Right.
Absolutely amazed and so excited about the caliber that's right here in our own town. Then you begin to realize, they're pre-concert talks, there's post-concert receptions, and then you start connecting with people in the galleries. Now you're surrounded by multimedia art. We had this Blues at Home exhibit that was a terrific way to bring music into the galleries. We've got the voices of these famous blues musicians from Mississippi. We had a blues concert on stage. We've got a local and nationally known artist. Here's Chris Porter practicing her art both in Mississippi and Annapolis. Just, again, what a resource and talent to bring together. People say we're really kind of beginning to blow the roof off Maryland Hall with some of the new things we're doing and new directions we're going. And I'm fortunate that we've got the creative talent on our staff to start. We're thinking in new ways about this.
I'm just so happy to hear this. We're going to take another short break. We'll be right back on the 1430 Connection. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. I'm in the studio today with Margaret Davis. She's the President and Chief Executive Officer of Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts. She started last year Transformations of Maryland Hall itself. That started back in 2013. That is going on today. Tell me about that.
That's right. That's the campaign for Maryland Hall, and that's an upgrade and enhancement campaign. So we're taking both new spaces and that are desperately needed, as well as some renovations of the existing building that are needed. Started with what we call, appropriately, Act One. And wisely, the board said, let's first focus on the user. And so we renovated the main theater. Now 720 seats, got nice functional air conditioning in there, new seat layout, better stage presentation.
The functional air conditioning is everything.
It's everything.
It's so comfortable.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I think so too. And those seats are comfortable as well, which is great. Great sight lines.
Yep.
We tuned it acoustically. You know, acoustics are an art form in themselves.
Sounds great. Yep.
So we tuned them really well. We need to now, because of the variety of performances we have in that theater. You know, I said over 40 just between now and the end of December. We've got rock concerts, we've got jazz, we've got Johnny Lang, who's a gospel blues folk singer coming. We've got lots of different types of performances, classical and all. We've got to be able to have a wider range of acoustics to make sure our guests, and we really look at guest engagement and guest experience is so important. We care about the guest. That's paramount to us. So Act One was focused on the guest. Act Two also upgraded restrooms, though historic, so we can talk about that again with Act Three. But Act Two was behind the scenes. Renovated dressing rooms, and took the old gym at the Annapolis High School and turned it into a beautiful black box that we're going to dedicate next month as the Linnell Bowen Theater to honor our a longtime former executive director. And now here's the exciting thing. Just picture how we had to bring a grand piano and scenery up the front stairs.
I don't actually have to picture this because I remember.
Well, you helped carry that scenery.
The early coming in, and the ballet company needed to bring in their own floor to perform on.
The
And
Nutcracker
none of this, the Nutcracker
scenery.
scenery, none of it was easy to bring in. So now you are.
We have can you believe it, a loading dock and a freight elevator, which we've never had before. So to the south of the building is a brand new, gorgeous addition that is coming online now. We'll be dedicating it next month, ribbon cutting next month. And already we've seen the difference in how we can load in, load out. And this is actually a direct benefit, again,
To
to
the
our
companies,
guests.
or
And
to- yeah.
definitely, and our companies are our customers, right? To our companies and our guests, because we can flip the stage faster and have even
Which
greater
is a
variety.
huge deal for-
Huge deal
yeah.
for everybody.
Yep.
Saves costs for our resident companies, provides just a really better experience for everybody. But really, seriously, can you imagine no freight, no loading dock,
I know, it's
nowhere
amazing.
for the scenery to come in. So that's all been solved and also upgraded. No oil tank anymore. We've got gas heat and just
Right.
a lot of environmental considerations. Going greener, having a better efficiency with our air conditioning and our heating. There's a lot more to go. I mean, this is a really good step for us. And so Act 3 will start to kick off also next month, and that'll be back to enhancing that guest experience all over the building. And working in partnership with Anne Arundel County Public Schools on their building and some of the physical needs that we have, working in partnership with Maryland Historical Trust, because we're a
right.
historical trust property, and we want to we embrace that, which is terrific, and see where we go from there. But we've got some very exciting plans for a North Addition for our guests that'll really help enhance their experience, and then also throughout the whole building with classrooms, hopefully a little larger lobby space if we can do it, some more public gathering spaces and multi-use spaces, so that we have a lot of requests for people to come and hold their events there. We want to be that community gathering place. I look at Maryland Hall as the convener as well of conversation.
Right.
So it's that art form, the conversational art form, and also engagement and civil discourse. Let's be sure we do that and have the right kind of spaces.
It's our Kennedy Center of Annapolis.
It really is. We're very fortunate to be there.
Yeah. In many ways, it's much more accessible.
It
The
is.
free parking, it's not as daunting. There's no traffic to get to it. Sometimes with the Nutcracker on Parade of Lights nights, but yeah,
It's a rare
normally-
occasion.
Yeah,
It's a rare occasion. And much more affordable.
Yeah, exactly that. The cafe, is there a cafe now?
There is a cafe
Oh, that's
now,
good. Okay.
and there have been a lot of attempts to have a cafe
Yeah.
at Maryland Hall, and I think we got smarter, and we welcomed again. I'm all about collaboration, as is our whole team at Maryland Hall. How do we add strength to strength and have a collective impact?
Right.
So this cafe is a great example of that. We've got a partnership, as I said, with Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So what we did is we worked with them and developed a partnership with Cat South at Edgewater, and here's another art form, culinary arts program.
How
So the
intelligent is that?
And
Win-win.
Well, we're grateful to both Dr. Maureen McMahon, who's on our board, and George Olato, obviously the superintendent, and the whole team at AACPS, who are so committed to making this work. Chef Pam Klink over at the Culinary Arts Program. So we've got these high school kids that she's training to help run a cafe, cook for the cafe. We bring the food over with the kids by bus in the morning. Now, we've had a soft opening for a few months because we want to get used to what's the rhythm going to be.
Right.
Fall is really going to be a big time for the cafe.
Is there a name for it?
Come over. It's the Cafe at Maryland Hall.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we put out some picnic benches right out in front of Maryland Hall. They're gorgeous, and the food is excellent. We had fresh salads will be on the menu, good sandwiches, and excellent coffees. We're working in partnership also with Chesapeake Bay Roasters to have sustainable coffee and tea options.
I love it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
You got to get it all together. Even my family would tell you I'm a big composter, and I just think I'd like to take Maryland Hall green. I think that's also in our future,
Yeah.
and we're making more and more steps that direction. And Cat South compost. So
Wow.
and we recycle, of course, and it's.
I'm thrilled with all the changes. I can't thank you enough for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, wishes for a very happy and successful art season ahead.
Thank you. I invite all your listeners to come over and come often and
Yeah.
have a great time with us at Maryland Hall and out in the community.
Thanks, Margaret.
Thank you.
This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will see you next week.